What's up, everybody? I'm PumaPete.
And I'm Moosen.
And we're Friendly Fire Co-op back playing Divinity Original Sin beta, but the focus of this video is more of what we will be saying and less of what's going on the screen. This is just like something for you guys to look at while we talk about what this video is really about, which is finally, talked about this so many times, and it's finally happening. What we would like changed between now and what is June 30th, because it got pushed back from June 20th. This video, we're going to talk about the top 10 things we would like to see changed during that time, and actually this is kind of exciting. I want to see what happens with random. Will my person just say something? No, they won't. I took random AI, still doesn't do it.
I think random AI is only for the other single player AI thing.
So like if I was by myself, one of them would do something. Is that what you're saying? Whatever.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's not important. Back to update. First thing we would like to see changed. We've complained about it about 1.5 million times. Enemy
There's
CC.
Too much enemy CC.
You know, they fixed it in a lot of fights. From what I've experienced at least. But certain fights, specifically
The one in front of the
the
cave.
terrible fight in front of Aru's cave, was literally the hardest fight in the game, only because all of the archers had CC, all of the mages had CC. It was absurd. We failed on it like 4 times. And I think the biggest problem with enemy CC is on a lone wolf run, it can just like completely destroy you when there's only 2 of you. I think like to balance this out, maybe they should just make it so so lone wolf boosts your bodybuilding and willpower.
I don't think that would work. I mean,
Like,
it'd help a lot of the saving throws you have.
yeah, that's why I think, maybe there's a good amount of CC for 4 people. We really haven't messed around with 4 people since they supposedly reduced the CC. Perhaps that would be like the solution to the issue, if they don't want to actually remove the amount of CC enemies have. But if you just like give lone wolf a substantial amount, I mean, it would still be luck based. You're still basically banking on saving throws. But I think that would help a significant amount. So I would like that at least as an option. Are we taking his pearl?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think the pearl is particularly useful, but I'll take it.
I ate him.
You ate Ishmael?
Yep.
What happened?
It says well, absolutely nothing has happened.
That's really disappointing, so we didn't even get anything good out of that.
Well played.
Whatever, either way, not the point again. Alright, second thing. You know what? I'm actually going to jump on our list real quick to something that's kind of related, which is CC balance from like the player side. And I think like what we mean by this is currently
I can knock down bosses. It should not be able to be knocked down for as long as they are.
I think being able to knock down bosses is okay. Like,
yeah.
I don't like the idea that like bosses should just be immune to all CC. That's kind of ridiculous. But for example, when we were fighting the giant spider, we literally had him locked down permanently. And I think like that's an issue. And I think the issue is that they need to make CC strong, because when you're fighting, 15 enemies at once, you have to be able to knock them down fairly reliably. And I understand that. I think what they could do to change that or fix that, or whatever verb you want to put there, would to give bosses just like much like with Lone Wolf, just give them a much higher bodybuilding and willpower stat, and just allow CC to keep being used what it really needs to be used for, which is large crowds.
Yep. I can completely agree with that.
Yeah. I just don't think it's necessary for them to be
Like the fight with the Twins by Fire join.
Yeah, like you need...
That fight's incredibly painful because you can't be CC'd at all.
Yeah. And I don't like that, but I don't like being able to knock them down so many times that nothing happens. So that would be cool if that's changed. Next thing on list, shop balance, I guess, is like the overarching term that we're going to use to describe it. But I don't know if that's exactly the right term, so we'll explain it. Essentially, the issue with shops right now, specifically with regards to spells, is that it's so random that one run you could get really lucky and you could get all of the spells you need and your run will go great. In the very next run, you could build your character exactly the same, make the exact same decisions, but the game might just decide to give you
all of the rain.
No all rain spells, or something along the lines of I'm drawing a blank on words right now, but I know exactly what I want to say. They could just give you a ton of high-level spells, which equally is a problem. I'm just going to drop this guy right next to you.
Alright. Ow.
Wait, did that hurt you?
You jerk, yeah. They fixed that in the patch.
Oh. Alright, well, should have read that patch note, I guess. But yeah, I would like to see shop bounce reworked so that, like, it can still be random-ish, but, like, I don't like the idea of random literally screwing you out of effective play, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, give some staples, make sure there's at least one of them. Give you, like, one heal, like, a minor heal. There should be a minor heal there. The fact that there wasn't one time for me caused very serious issues. And, like, one time I couldn't buy a rain spell. There were no rain instead of all of the rain. And it makes just parts of the game, like, almost a chore to get through without being able to put fires out. Yeah. Well, I bought it by then. They refresh it quickly enough. It was just the early game was annoying. But yeah, so I like to see that changed. Number 3, I'm going to use the term more descriptive tooltips, and I'm going to say I don't mean that for everything. Like, if you look at this is an awesome tooltip for teleportation. It tells you, like, exactly what's going on. The bigger issue that I was having with this is things like smoke screen, spells that make smoke screen, arrows that make smoke screen. Literally,
spells that make smoke screen.
Is that spells and skills are the same thing, aren't they? Are we gonna get nitpicky with that? All right. Yes. Well, I hate you.
Duly noted.
But they literally would just say, make a smoke screen. And then it was up to you to figure out what a smoke screen does. And, like, maybe that's part of the game. Like, I get, it's fun to figure out how things work and blah, blah, blah. But it was kind of over the top to the point where I would put a smoke screen around us, the enemies could shoot into it, we couldn't shoot out of it. I would put a smoke screen on the enemy, they could shoot out of it, we couldn't shoot into it. I would put one in between us, and they could shoot through it, and we couldn't. And, like, those are basically the 3 things that logically I should be like, this is what a smoke screen does. Yeah. And it just isn't.
And on the lines of more descriptive tooltips, I would also like to see at the bars on the top, you can see what enemies have the buffs or debuffs on them.
Yeah, that is absolutely something that needs correcting or something like that. Essentially, and enemies will have
that has never been on my character before.
Right. Enemies can have buffs and debuffs that you haven't had access to, or you just don't remember right off the top of your head what they do. And I just think what needs to be done is you should be able to, whenever you hover over an enemy, it'll show what's going on, like what their status is. But if you go to move your mouse to scroll over it, your mouse isn't on the enemy anymore, and then it's gone. I think what needs to be done is just you should be able to, like, lock an enemy's name at the top, and you should just be able to scroll over it. I think that is a fairly simple change that I think would make the game a lot, better designed. So I would absolutely like to see that. Next thing, inventory sorting by item type. This should not be a complicated thing. If you open the inventory, here are tabs over here. All equipment, consumables, magical, ingredients, miscellaneous. They have item types assigned to them already. But this sort by thing says latest added, gold value, weight, or durability. None of those things are useful in my mind. I don't care about, like, I don't care the item I picked up last in 98% of situations. I care about the item type. Just add that. Add that to the drop-down menu. I'll be so happy. That has to be, like, the smallest change we want to see. I don't think that
Probably
that's,
the
like...
most important change,
yeah,
too.
that, like, I don't think that's a lot to ask. I think it's very necessary. Game, please. I'm sure they can do that. I'm 100%. I don't know if any of the other suggestions we were making are possible. That has to be a thing that can be done. Make it happen. Next thing on the list, now that I got that mini rant out of the way, is spell balance across like the different types of magic schools, if you will: fire, water, air, witchcraft, etc. And I can understand the logic behind this. Like, you don't want the schools to be too similar, so you give them all a different feel. Like, you know, fire is the damage one. Fire does damage. I understand that. Water's healing, because oftentimes we associate water with healing. Again, I understand that. Air, some buffs. Earth, you know, it does some poison. It does some status effects. Witchcraft also some status effects. But essentially, the issue I have with that right now is I don't benefit that much from status effects, from healing. A lot of those abilities, what did I tell these guys?
I already did that quest.
Oh, okay. I was wondering why they wouldn't talk to me. But essentially, I don't find many of the other magical schools overwhelmingly useful. They all respectfully have, you know, useful abilities. Mine is Earth, which I just don't think is in a very good place right now. I think Earth needs the most reworked, like the most of it redone, I guess is the best way I can put that. I don't think Earth is in a good place, especially early game. They do a lot of poisoning. Poisoning is useless early game. Give them something else. I don't know what it is. But essentially, I think fire should not be your one and only option early game for AoE. Because I just think that's kind of boring.
Yeah, like chain lightning. That should be out a bit earlier.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't care if it's less damage or not.
Yeah, if you want to make things like chain lightning, I understand it's a high level. I don't even know what I clicked, by the way. I'm just mashing through this dialogue, just so you know. You being Mason, not whatever. I'm cool with them lowering the damage to balance it out if they want to make it available at the same level as like Firefly or whatever. But here's like Fire at, I think, level 6 or 7-ish. I don't know exactly. By then, you could have already learned Firefly and Fireball. Like, that's 2 AoE spells that are insanely powerful. Like, I understand, maybe you can make the argument, like, Firefly has a downside. You get fire everywhere, and you might not want it there. That is not nearly a small enough, or that's not nearly a large enough, you know, downside for the overwhelming benefit it has over almost any other spell comparatively at its level. Like, it's so good compared to your standard spell at that level. And, like, I don't want everything to be able to do the same. I would just like, you know, a chain lightning spell maybe. Maybe some type of, you know, maybe you add like an earthquake-esque ability to the earth, you know, spell, tree, air, whatever you want to call it.
Throw a rock at somebody.
Yeah, like a big rock that, like, hits multiple people. That would be cool. They have that rolling boulder ability. I don't think that's a good ability. I've experimented with it. It's not that effective to me. Maybe I wouldn't mind. They have teleportation. Maybe like a mass teleport, which sends like a group of things in a circle somewhere else. You want to give it a downside? Make it random. They can land anywhere within a 15-meter radius, but they all take damage. I think that's reasonable. I don't think it's too strong. I think it would add a lot of diversity to the early game that currently is just dominated by fire. And I would like to see more options. I don't think that's unreasonable. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that would agree with that statement. Next big thing. I've complained about this a lot in episodes. Range. If it says my range is 15 meters, I should be able to shoot something at 15.0 meters. Let's look at, what do I have here that's 15 meters? Target range, 15.0 meters. Not less than 15. 15 exactly. I should be able to hit something that's exactly 15. I don't think that's unreasonable. Like,
I don't know the logic behind that either.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's like just really oddly coded so that it doesn't work at exactly 15.
If it's really oddly coded, just set it to 15.01 meters. And then
like, I don't know if it's actually supposed to be like that, but if it is, change the tooltip because the tooltip is deceiving. It leads me to believe that I should be able to shoot 15 when I just can't. So please, I would love that change. I'm sure that frustrates other people as well as me. It's not like an OCD thing. Like I don't really have that. Like I'm not annoyed that those two numbers don't match. I'm annoyed they don't match because it doesn't work the way I think it should. But yeah, enough ranting about that. Those were like my big rants, I guess. So I'm done ranting in this change list. But next big change, we'd like to see changes to Resurrection. Essentially, the issue we have with the current state of Resurrection is
I walk into fire and die, and then when I respawn, I'm still in the fire.
Right. I don't like how in the current state of Resurrection you get resurrected back into elemental hazards. And I think I understand the reason for this, which is if your character is in combat and is stuck in fire, they shouldn't be able to just like resurrect and get out of the fire. And I understand that. The problem is if your character somehow ends up in fire or lava or poison or whatever outside of combat and you try to resurrect them, and it's something that you can't get rid of, like the fire around the Twins by Fire joined area, which you just can't get rid of it.
It's lava, it's the worst.
Right. The only way to get your person back is essentially to cheese the game. Like you teleport somewhere, you enter a building that just moves the remains completely. I just think that is unnecessary. Like just make it so that when I resurrect them, they will naturally get out of the elemental hazard. They don't have to move all the way to me. Maybe that would make resurrection too powerful for like combat scenarios. Just make it so they won't immediately die again. And if this would make it unbalanced for combat, make it so that it only works like that outside of combat. I feel like that's reasonable. I just don't like the fact that I essentially have to choose the game to resurrect people. Next change we'd like to see, and the penultimate one, if you will, second to last. Maybe this is something that actually can't be coded in because it might be really awkward. I would just like it for both players to be able to save the game. Because currently, if you're the host, is the only one that can control the game saves. So if for whatever reason your friend has to stop playing for a long period of time, can't play, whatever, the other guy's kind of left out to dry. And it's completely opposite. If you're the host and your other friend, can't play anymore, you can just pick it up as a single player and it's fine. Like nothing happens. You don't have a friend anymore to play it with, but the game will still work. You control both characters, or you can bring a different friend in. I would just like to have the option that for the other guy to be able to do the same thing. And maybe this is selfish of me because I would like this change specifically because when we're doing things like this, I basically have to always be the one saving. Mason can't, so I'm always the one that has to catch us up in content. I think it'd be nice if both people can do things. So that's the change I would like to see. And the very last change, we would like to see weapon balance, redone a little bit.
You have Medora, and you cleave somebody for 100 damage, and then I walk up and I poke him with my dagger, and it's like 2, 4.
Right.
It's just...
Oh, I lost.
I'm stabbing the person.
Yeah.
It's gonna do a bit more damage.
Right. Like, I can understand two-handed weapons should do more damage.
I'm gonna cleave somebody in half with that, but...
Right. But for one more action point, a two-handed weapon does so much more than a one-handed weapon. And like, I get you're trading away the defensive benefits of a shield. Like, that's cool, whatever, I'll get over it. But essentially, it just makes those weapons so much more powerful. And even like with bows, I pay 4 action points to hit someone for like 15 or 20 damage. Medora pays 4 action points to hit someone for like 130. Like, I understand, I'm at range, things can move in this game. Range is not such a big advantage that I should do a 5th or a 6th of the damage. I think that's reasonable to normalize it a little bit. Buff the other weapons. I'm not saying nerf two-handed weapons, because the game's already hard. Like, we don't need less advantages, we just want more weapons to be more effective.
Yep.
And that would be a big help to rogues. Yeah, so those are all the changes. Which is obviously good, because rogues are still bad. So maybe class balance, add that on. Bonus number 11, class balance, make rogues playable. That was on the list. Obviously, we didn't mention things like bug fixes. We didn't mention more combat. Those are things that are kind of expected to be in. These are just kind of the things that we would like to see that aren't like guarantees, essentially, to be changed. But that's everything we have. If you guys have anything or want to join in on the conversation, changes we suggested that you like, changes that you hate, changes that you would like that we did not mention, feel free to leave them in the comments. I would love to talk to you guys about this. I do try to respond to all of, maybe not every single comment. I try to respond to as many as I can. I definitely like, having some level of interaction. So feel free to make some comments about changes you'd like to see. And thanks for watching, guys. Remember to subscribe if you'd like to see more daily Divinity Original Sin content, as well as other things. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.